Hey everyone, layout update today. And this update's going to be a little bit different. In this update I'm actually going to talk about mistakes I've made or things that I would do differently if I were designing this layout today. So now that I've had this up and running for a while and I've done a lot of operations with it, a few of which I've filmed, I've got a good feel for layout and how it works and how it operates, and overall I'm very happy with it. I really couldn't complain more. It's taken me a long time to get to this point, so I'm definitely enjoying having the layout. There's still a million things to do, mostly scenery and painting and things like that, but lately I've been just spending time having fun with it. But with that, I've discovered a lot of things that if I were designing this today I would do different, and I just kind of wanted to talk about some of those things real quick. So when I designed this layout, I designed it specifically. I prioritized operational fun over prototypical realism. And what I mean by that is this layout's 8 foot by 2.5 feet, and I squeezed 4 industries in this layout so I could do as much as I could with this space. If I had a much bigger layout and I had a lot more room, typically this space would be 1 industry, maybe 2, But with that, I wanted to make it as fun as possible, which is why I squeezed so much in here. And so space became kind of the concern with this, and one of the biggest problems is trying to fit everything in without it getting too much track and just looking stupid. And one of the initial designs I did when I did this layout, or choices I made, was I had a double main, these 2 tracks right here. And in hindsight, that was stupid. I shouldn't have done that. When I designed this, I had, high aspirations. I'm going to be like, oh, double main, I can expand the layout at some point, and, that'll be cool to have operationally, but realistically, it just wastes space. This whole track here I should have never put in. And I could have scooted everything forward and given me more room at the back of the layout. And the other problem with that is I can't even use the second track. So this forward track right here, this one here, I got my little extension just to be able to run trains back that way, but the only crossover I have is down here at this end. And then over here, coming off the siding, I can't use that, which I'll talk about here in a minute, but even then I've only got this little space to get an engine, a locomotive off of there onto the main track here if I needed to. So it was just dumb. I shouldn't have done it. It ate up space. And with that too, I've got this second little spur coming off here. And the whole point of this was it was going to be my programming track. So I've actually got insulators right there cutting the switch, if you can see the 2. And I've got it set up so I could program locomotives here, but realistically I never have more than 1 or 2 locomotives on this layout at any time. So whenever I program my DCC controllers, I just take all the layout or locomotives off except for the one I'm programming and just program in the main. So there's really no other reason to have this little spur right here. It's still cool because it adds some just scenery to the layout, I guess, but it's just more wasted space that I shouldn't have put in there. Now, the next problem I came across was basically operationally on the layout. I don't have a single grade crossing. There's no roads. The way it kind of works is over here, I imagine there would be a road coming off this way that would feed, these industries there and go that way. And same thing down at the other end, be a road going across there, to the back of the layout, off the layout basically. But it kind of makes it not fun because when you have grade crossings, it adds another area of complexity to running the layout. First of all, it gives you something to do, gives you a reason to honk the horn, which is kind of fun. On this layout, there's essentially no reason for me to ever use the horn except for me maybe backing up or other operations like that, which I normally don't do. But if you had a grade crossing, it would force you to use the horn, which is good. And it also kind of adds more complexity into operations because you got to make sure you're not blocking that road for an extended period of time. So I had looked in terms of adding roads into this layout. Like at one point I was like, well, I could probably squeeze one across here, going over to the back, feed this industry here or something, but it's just too many tracks. And I didn't want my road to cross a switch. So I don't really have a good spot to do it here, and I'd be crossing, even if I did it here, I'd be crossing 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 5 to get back there, which is just excessive. I didn't want to do it. And I had the same problem over here too. It's like, except for there's even more, and now I got 4 in front, plus 2, it's a ton of track. So it just didn't work of putting roads here the way I designed it. So with that, I've actually been considering extending the layout, because I have space. I could make this huge if I wanted to, but I know realistically my time commitment to doing this and the amount of space I'm willing to devote to this isn't huge. But I could add another 4 feet because I have 4 feet here to add to it. And I'm really thinking of doing that. So I could basically have a road here. Like I said, go all the way back. It would feed this industry. And then on this section over here, what I would probably do is this little spur back here. I would continue to feed that across all the way off to the other part of the layout here. And then I'd probably feed 1 or 2 more industries back over this way, which I think would be kind of cool. So not going to happen immediately, but that's kind of what I'm thinking long term, because then it'll give me a grade crossing, which I'll like, and then it'll give me 2 more industries, small industries, that will allow me to do some switching there. And that's the other thing too, is with this layout, in terms of what I can switch in the industries I have, almost everything's fed by boxcars, which is fine. But other than the chemical facility, which is tank cars, which is cool. But I don't really have any other reason to use any other cars. None of these industries would ever need a flat car. None of them would ever need a gondola. And I've got a ton of these cars that are nice cars that I don't really, that have no use for. So mixing up some industries back there, I could have a steel factory or, aluminum processing plant or assembly plant that takes, steel coil cars and then has scrap metals, they need gondolas. There's a ton of different things I could do. And here in Detroit, there's a million industries like that, serve those types of cars, gondolas and flat cars and coil cars and that like. So just another thought of something I'm seriously considering doing with the layout here in the future. But the last thing that I wish I would have done different is in the back here, due to space, I've got the 2 tracks running across the back, and I've got them pretty close to the wall. The track is a little over 1 inch from the backdrop there. And I wish I would have moved those a little bit closer this way. The reason being is it doesn't give me much room in the back there for scenery. And I've realized this as I built a couple of my buildings, which are unpainted at the moment. But, I don't have a lot of room for scenery back there. So the backdrop is just kind of, the building's there. I'm going to have some, I'm eventually going to do a nicer backdrop of City of Detroit or something back there to give it a little bit more scenery. But, I don't really have any room to put trees in the back there, or any other scenery other than, just whatever actual backdrop images I use behind those buildings. And then a little bit of grass and stuff up front. But other than that, I'm kind of limited. So I wish I would have given myself a little bit more space. I mean, in terms of overall design too, obviously everything on this layout is kind of straight along the layout. I wish I had done some more angles to make it more interesting and, not so straight. But again, I was trying to prioritize the operational fun of this layout. So that really just wasn't an option in terms of how I did everything. But again, that said, I've been super happy with it. Having a lot of fun with it. Still have a lot to do. But that's kind of what I'm thinking here. And I'm really, really considering adding this extension onto the back of the layout or onto this side of the layout. That would help a lot. I kind of already have it here with this little extension I made anyway. But to operate and have a couple more industries back there, I think would be good. So that's where my head's at. I'll probably, I don't know, I got some more thinking to do in design and figure out what industries I'd like to do back there. Not that I even should be doing that. I should probably just be finishing the scenery on this part of the layout, but we'll get there someday. Anyway, that's all for today. Just wanted to talk about those couple things, so thank you for watching.